Today's video, we're going to be breaking down the top 5 defenses in Madden 25. We're going to be going over specific formations. There's really 2 or 3 playbooks that I think that you should be running in this game. I think it kind of depends on whatever your main primary defense is. The 3 playbooks that I would recommend is the Vikings playbook, the multiple defensive playbook, and the Jets, 49ers, Texans. They're all pretty much the same. That kind of playbook, that kind of style of defense. Now, really quickly, we are going to be in the multiple defensive playbook for the first couple of defenses that we're going to be going over. And if you want to learn any of these defenses more in depth, we have everything that you need in our school community. That is where you're going to get access to all of my Madden and College Football 25 offensive and defensive ebooks, as well as all of our updates to those ebooks, an entire community that can support you in your Madden or college football journey. So if you guys want to check that out, it's only $10 to become a member. The link is in the description down below. The first defense we're going to be going over, we're going to try to kind of rank these, if you will, in 5 to 1. So number 5 on our list is going to be 3-4 odd. Now, what you're going to want to do with 3-4 odd is you're going to want to turn auto flip off, and then you can turn your option defense on conservative. I always do this just to help with read option style offenses. And you're going to basically run your entire defense from this play pinch bug 0. Now, one big tip for this defense is these 2 middle linebackers right here. These guys, they're not really that important to the defense. You need your fastest players on these outsides. We got Jerome Baker and Pace here. But again, just some fast linebackers on the outside. And then if you can get fast defensive ends, that obviously helps significantly. And then we'll just leave the stock DT. And you're going to be in pinch bug 0 every single play. This is the defense, and it is a heavy blitzing style of defense. So all you're going to do to set the splits up is basically nothing. You're just going to user this guy, and you're going to come down here and stand like this. And what you're going to see is you're going to get double edge pressure pretty consistently at the quarterback. Now, the main objective your user is trying to do is pull this guard in just a step. And if you have super fast linebackers on the outside, that is going to help this blitz tremendously. Now, obviously, there are some coverage holes because we are sending 6 people. So your primary objective defensively here is I'm pretty much watching the running back. So if the running back goes out on a route, I don't really need to hover to get good pressure. So if I see the running back go out, I'm going to go guard him immediately, and I'm not really worried about getting that double edge style of pressure. But if the running back blocks, then you're going to see here that we can still get good pressure with this backside linebacker, because now I don't need to go cover the running back. I can kind of hover just a little bit longer, and I can get this pressure to come in. So you'll see here again, kind of come in, and against blocked running back, we're going to get this thing to scream. The cool part about this blitz, what makes this defense really effective, is this blitz comes in really, really fast. So it's hard for your opponent to make a quick read if you could jump into coverage quick. Now, if you don't stay down there with your user, sometimes this right side pressure can get picked up, and just from experience running this defense, it's normally the fault of you because you're not hovering long enough. If you hover long enough, this blitz is always going to come in against a block running back, which is what makes it, I think, super good, because you're guaranteeing your pressure, and by guaranteeing your pressure, you're going to put that quarterback on a timer, so you don't have to cover for very long. Another one of my favorite things to do out of this style of defense is to kind of get aggressive with my coverage. So one of the things that you could do is you could put the soft squat out here. You could go with a deep half zone, and then if you even wanted to, you could put like a hook curl over here on the right side, just something like this. This is not a bad defense whatsoever. And then I would maybe even man my user up over here to the right side. They're gonna block their running back, okay? Because if they don't, they're gonna get screamed at. But if you put zones out there when they expect man, if you put man out there when they expect zone, that is kind of some of the other little kind of features of this defense. So even just doing a defense like this, not a bad defense whatsoever. You can press this. Cool part about 3-4 odd is when you press, these linebackers really get down in the gaps, which is super helpful. And again, you're just trying to cover for just a split second so that the blitz can come home. Now, what's really important about 3-4 odd, though, is situationally, we can actually drop out of this coverage. So one of the things that I like to do is play what I call a roll coverage, where we're going to have a flat and an outside third on the left side, and then we're going to have an inside third, a half, a soft squat, and a vert hook on this backside. So you see, this is what the defense looks like. This is one of the best send fours in the game as well, just because of the placement of that middle linebacker. And so if they are blocking the running back, watch this. That middle linebacker is going to get a one-on-one with the running back. And if you have a good player there, he has potential to shed. So you don't need a super fast middle linebacker, but you do need somebody with good pass rushing abilities. Let me actually go see if I have anybody on my team that I could put there, and I'll kind of explain this a little bit and show this a little bit better. So we might actually have to take Clowney out of the defensive line. Let me see if I have anybody. Yeah, I don't really have anybody good. Let's put Clowney over here, and he is super fast too. But if you have a good pass rusher right there, it doesn't have to be super fast. He just needs to be able to shed. And I'll just show you. Let me grab place seam divide, and then let me block the running back. And we'll do kind of that same deal. So we're going to basically go with a maximum almost. In this game, you don't really want to be sending 3. You want to really be sending 4, 5, or 6. So anyway, here we go. They're going to block the running back. Watch this. Javavian Clowney one-on-one. There he gets cut blocked, but he's going to get there. He's going to get up. He's going to get the pressure. So over time, over the course of an entire drive, this defense will do a really good job of shedding your opponent, and it just makes defense, I think, a little easier, just because you'll see here, that time we get the shed and, getting the pressure. So the point I'm trying to make here, guys, is if you occasionally drop out in max coverage, they're going to have, I almost guarantee you, if someone sees that you're in this defense, they're going to block their running back. And then when they start blocking their running back, if we just send this right here, this is really, really good max coverage defense, right? And then it's a very basic coverage. Another thing that you can do is if you can send 5. So if we want to send 5, this is if we were trying to consistently get pressure against, just the running back out. We could do something like this. If we wanted to get really aggressive, we can play man coverage here. So we're going to have man coverage across the board. They're going to struggle to block this 5-man pressure. And now everybody's manned up on the field. So you'll see here, they're struggling to block the 5-man pressure. And there's not a whole lot of open quick. I can lurk the crosser. We can have a pretty decent defense in terms of that. So this is another little thing that you can do here is just man the running back up. And then you have this. Now, if they do block the running back, this is not going to come in, and you're going to be a little bit exposed, but you're still going to get that quick shed on the running back. So that's 3-4 odd. One other little tip for this defense that I do think is worth mentioning is if you put your flats on 30, your curl flats on 5, your hooks on 5, you can actually run a pretty decent double Mabel style defense. So what you're going to do, and you might need to have this guy over here for this, which is fine. Well, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to soft squat your outside guys. You're going to want to curl flat your inside guys, and then you're going to just deep half. And what this does is this is a very good coverage in this year's game. You can quarter this guy as well if you're worried about seam streaks, but this is a very good coverage this year. Because these outside flat zones, they're going to get back on corner routes. And this is one of the meta combos right now that a lot of people are running. So all I have to do is lurk the drag, and then that corner route's going to get played by that soft squat, even though he's pressed up. So anyways, that is 3-4 odd. So for the next defense we're going to be talking about, this is number 4 on my list in terms of top 5 defenses in Madden 25. 3-3 Cub is really good. What you're going to want to do with this defense is you're going to want to sub in your players wherever you want them to be. I recommend these outside guys, kind of like 3-4 odds. You want super fast linebackers. It just makes this blitz a lot better. The speed at linebacker and the speed at defensive line is really, I think, the key to playing really good defense in this year's game. You need that speed out there. Now, the other big tip that I want to tell you is the reason you're subbing everybody out and you're subbing everybody back in is because you're going to change the packages. Really important here. If you go to the CB inside package, this is going to make 3-3 Cup a lot more user-friendly to you, and you're going to get better adjustments from this. The way that I run this defense is I run pretty much everything out of Mike Blitz 0 at this point, and I will actually go in and turn this on man align. The reason why I'm going to turn this on man align is because if I ever want to come out and cover 4 show 2, it's going to look similar to Mike Blitz 0. And the reason why you would do that is because you want to run some match coverage. Okay, so very simple defense here. What makes this defense good is it's really good against the run. You get really good sheds from it, and you have a 5-man blitz. You really don't. You kind of have a 4-man blitz as well, but the 5-man blitz is really where this defense makes its money. It's really good in man coverage, which is why we're running it out of a base man look. So the way that I like to run this defense is to use a lot of man coverage. So I'm going to leave my user blitzed a lot because when you run man coverage, you don't really want to switch stick. So you're going to man up both linebackers here onto the running back at the tight end. The reason we're able to do this man ups is because of the CB inside package. If we don't do that CB inside package, this guy I believe on the left side is going to be a defensive lineman. Then you're going to deep half both of these guys, and you're just going to shade underneath. Once you do that, what I like to do is kind of just based off tendency. Like I'll shade this solo receiver outside. Maybe I'll shade the slot corner outside, and maybe I'll shade the outside bunch. I'll just individually start shading the players. Anyways, when you blitz your user, you're still going to get good 3-man sheds. So as long as you leave your user blitz, you'll still get really nice 3-man sheds, which is one of the advantages of this defense. The 3-man sheds are really, really good out of this defense and something that you need to kind of prioritize. So you're just going to do this, and you're going to play really, really good coverage, right? Very simple, really good coverage. This is hard. This is a very hard defense to beat. And again, we're just shading underneath. That's all we're trying to do here. Now, as they start to beat your coverage, what I like to do is I'm just not going to shade underneath. So what a lot of people are going to do to try to beat this coverage is they're going to put routes on the field that can do a really good job of beating shaded underneath man coverage, okay? Shaded underneath man coverage. So what I want to do is I want to put zones around this. So one of the things we can do is we can man this guy up to the tight end, and then we could put this outside guy in a curl flat. We could put this guy on the left side. We could do a defense like this. This is perfectly fine, if you wanted to. Another thing that you can do is you could do something like this, and this is now a pretty decent coverage just in terms of with the middle third defender. I like to leave him manned up on the running back because in bunch, let's say the running back blocks, which I'm going to get to that in a minute and show you why they're going to have to block the running back. Watch the safety on the left side. He'll turn into a middle third. So you kind of have a middle third without having to have a middle third, and then you're able to have 2 purple zones. So what's going to happen is they're going to start to consistently send 5 out to try to beat your blitz, to try to beat your defense. Once they start to do this, where they're sending 5 out to try to beat your coverage defense, this is where we're just going to sneak this in. So I like to press it, but I'm not shading the coverage. I'm just leaving it as is. And in this example, I am going to probably put my user on a zone. And the reason why is just in case I want to switch stick onto the safety. Don't really have to do that, but I think it's helpful. And then I don't really do anything other than that. I don't spread the line. I don't do any of that. I just come out here, and you're going to see this fast pressure off this left side. I probably send this blitz maybe once or twice a drive. The whole idea behind this defense and what makes this defense really good, the coverage is really good. So I'm going to coverage, and then blitz. Another way to do this, if you want to, is you can spread your D-line and slant them outside. This is much worse run defense, but you can get a little bit more consistent edge pressure this year out of this. As you see, that left side is going to consistently come in off the outside. You'll see here again. And the other thing that I've started to see people do is they'll do this, kind of like college football 25. Interesting how all roads kind of lean back to college football 25. But this is a 4-man, and sometimes this will loop around the edge. Doesn't always, but you'll see this 4-man, and this can potentially come in as well. Now, occasionally what we will also do within this defense is I will just randomly go to a standard coverage zone. So what that might look like would be a quarter, half, and then like a zone here on the left side. And then, in this case, maybe we, send the pressure off the left and we play defense like this. Every now and then I'll just mix this in. Just as a mix-in, this is really effective because they're not expecting it, right? They're not expecting that. They're getting a lot of man. It's a man-to-man look, but then you call zone out of it. Really nice little defense. This defense has great coverage. The blitz is kind of mid, honestly. It's okay, but you're not going to want to be blitzing a ton out of this defense. You're going to be wanting to playing more coverage. The coverage is probably the best coverage in the game. It's very, very good coverage, but that is the 3-3 Cub defense. So coming in at number 3 on our list is the 4-3 even 6-1 defense. This is in a lot of playbooks. I believe it's in Vikings. I know it's in Jets. This defense is really, really, really good. And we do have a mini scheme on this we just dropped on our school site. But basically what we're looking at within this defense is kind of similar to 3-3 Cub. Really, really good run defense, a really good 5-man pressure, decent coverage. And then from there, it does have a 6-man blitz component as well. Now, the way to run this defense, in my opinion, is to be using this cover 4 quarters as kind of your base. One of the big things that I want you to do if you're going to do that, though, is go into your coaching adjustments. Make sure you put your hooks on 5. This is going to cancel out the matching principles within this so that the defense kind of plays a little bit more basic and a little bit more simplified for you. Then you're going to go to auto flip, turn this off. Auto alignment to base. Baseline is best for this defense. And we're just going to come out here and cover quarters. It's a very simple defense. What makes this defense really good is the 4 down lineman sheds are incredible. So all you're going to do, I'm not even kidding, you're just going to show blitz, you're going to shade underneath, and you're just going to play like this. This is a very good base coverage defense. You could switch stick around really easily within this defense. It's a very simple defense to play. And then as you kind of go through this, you might want to play kind of what I would consider to be the meta coverage of Madden 25, which is the quarter, half. So what you're going to do is you're going to quarter, half. So you just shade underneath. You're going to half this guy on the trip side, soft squat this guy, and then you're going to vert hook this guy. This is one of the meta coverages this year and really one of the main kind of mainstay good coverage defenses within this game for 3x1 sets. And then as far as pressure goes from this, all you're going to do to get pressure is you're just going to blitz the linebacker on the right-hand side, kind of stand over here like so. And you see, again, kind of another key, hopefully, takeaway of this video is if you have really fast linebackers and really fast defensive linemen, every single blitz works significantly better. So you see here, again, look how fast that pressure gets in. Now, I know the flat's open, so if we wanted to adjust to that, what we can do is we can just shade underneath, and then we go quarter, half again, and then now our user needs to be a little bit more of a hook curl type defender. And so you see here, we're kind of getting over into this area. That time we get an A-gap blitz, and you see this is a very, very good blitz. Now, let's say, and this is, I think, the best way to pick up 6-1 is they'll start to block the tight end. So when they start to block the tight end, you'll see here that this blitz is not as good. Sometimes it can still kind of shed and disengage, and that's just kind of the way this game plays, but it's not really effective, right? So what we're going to do, it's not really consistent. So what we're going to do is we're going to slant our D-line outside, and we're going to blitz both of these linebackers like this. And then what I am normally going to do is I'm going to man one side up, typically this backside here. We're going to play man, and then on this right side, we're going to play quarter and a soft squat. The quarter is going to take away the seam streak. What we're anticipating with this defense is that the blitz is going to come in really fast, so we just need to cover for just a split second. And what you see here is we get fast pressure, and we're able to get the sack. This is the 6-1 defense. This defense is really, really effective. It's very simple to run, which is probably one of the reasons why every year this kind of seems to be one of the main defenses that people ultimately wind up in. It's really good against the run. The sheds are really good, and you can play decent coverage out of this. Another one of my favorite tricks, kind of similar to 3-4 odd, is to utilize a 30 and a 5 out here like that. And then what we can do is we can really kind of just force them to have to work, because we're just going to soft squat like this. It's already kind of set up for us. You know, basically do a defense like this. This is really effective because you're just going to be able to stop corner routes. These soft squats, these quarter flats, they get out really well, and they just play really good against the sidelines and just kind of force everything in the middle of the field, which is where your user's at and where you have the most amount of switch stick ability. So this is the 6-1 defense. Again, really, really good sheds. You get great disengages, good run defense out of this. And then the 5-man blitz is pretty good. 5-man blitz is pretty simple as well and pretty effective. As you see, just comes in super quick at the quarterback. So that's the 6-1 defense coming in at number 3 on our list. Coming in at number 2 on our list is double mug. Now, what a lot of people are starting to do against double mug is they are starting to kind of counter some of the mid-blitz alignment with auto motions and things of that nature. So I'm going to be showing you a way to run this defense without having to deal with that and make it a little bit more simple for you. In your coaching adjustments, what you're going to want to do is turn auto flip defensive play call on, option defense on conservative. That's really all you need to do. I also really like 5-yard hooks specifically out of double mug. I think 5-yard hooks are really good at a double mode because you're not really using a lot of match within this defense. You don't have to do that, and we'll actually leave that on default because I do want to show you a soft squat tip. So, anyways, we'll get out here, and the play you're going to be coming out in every single play is nickel dog 3 buzz. So what you're going to do out of this very, very simple defense is you are just going to show blitz. Now, the reason you're going to show blitz is because it's going to bring the safeties into a pretty good alignment. I like to bring this guy down a little bit more, and I'm normally going to be wanting to user the lineman that is on the trip side of the formation. So if bunch was flipped, I would want to be usering over here. If bunch is standard, I want to be usering over here, okay? Now, for the blitz setup, all you're going to do is you're just going to slant your D-line to the inside, and then what I'm going to typically do is I'm going to drop this defender on the left side into a flat. I would really like a deep half on the solo side this year, and then we're going to basically do quarter, quarter, half, like so. And then what you can do with your user here, because it's kind of a weird, you kind of see like we're kind of in a weird position here. You can just man him up onto the tight end. Okay, just man him up on the tight end, and then you can switch stick off of this as you need to. You don't have to do that, but you can put him in whatever coverage you want. But again, the main thing of the blitz here is you don't want to pinch your defensive line. You just want to slant them inside. And what you're going to see is this 4-man is going to disengage, and you're going to get consistently really good pressure out of this. The thing that I like about mid blitz is I do believe that it is the best. It's the most uncomfortable. It's the most uncomfortable type of pressure that you're going to see in this game. The pressure feels really, really good. They're not always going to come in completely free, but the way that it disengages, it makes it feel just super, super good. As you can see there, another disengage. They just pinball. The pressure just comes in quick. The interesting part about mid blitz is as your opponent tries to basically block the blitz, I think it makes the blitz better, which is kind of an interesting position to be in. So another thing you could do with your user is you could slide him in manually like this and then just kind of run to the right. You see there we get the screamer up the A-gap, and that's exactly why you run this defense. That is, when that happens, there's nothing you can really do. You can't pass. The other thing is, I've talked to a lot of competitive players. No one really has a consistent pickup for this blitz that works every single time. As you see, we're screaming up the A-gap. When we move our user in like this, it just kind of changes some of the targeting, and it really makes this it makes this 4-man really, really, really good. So again, we'll show it to you one more time. You see, we're just consistently getting that up the A-gap every time. Now, what they're going to do to try to block this blitz is they are going to do one of two protections typically. The first one is specific to the 4-man. They're going to half slide to the right and double team this guy on the left. So what this is going to do is this is probably the best protection for the 4-man, but it's going to leave them very vulnerable. So you'll see here, if they do this, as you see, picks up the 4-man pretty well. Like I got a shed, but it picks up the 4-man pretty well. If you start to see them doing this, what I want you to do, it's very subtle, but what we're going to do here is we're going to do the scissor adjustment on the left side like this. You don't have, again, if you don't want to do that, you could also just play cover 2. That's fine as well. But the thing that I want you to see here is we're going to contain, and then we're going to play a defense like this. So you see, this is what it looks like. So what's going to happen here is when they go to that protection, this defensive end is going to come in completely free at the quarterback. And then you have a contain on that right side in case they roll out. You don't even have to contain if you don't want to, but I just think it's effective. So now they're back to the drawing board, and they have to find a different pass protection because you guys walking right in on a 3-man. The other thing you can do that's kind of interesting out of this is that let's say they do this protection, you can start to get really, really, really adjusty with your blitz. So you could do something like this where you contain, and then we just take this right side guy and we man him up on anybody on the field. This is something that you can start to do once they start to get kind of over adjusty with their protection. That's a send 4. That's a send 4, and we're able to get that guy completely and free because they over adjusted with their protection. So what most people end up in is they're going to half slide to the right, they're going to block their running back, and they're going to ID this guy over here. That's almost always what people are going to basically wind up in. The problem is when they start to do that protection, that's not really that good against the 4-man blitz. You're going to see right here. We get a disengage. Now we have our defensive end matched up on the running back. A lot of times that can come in. And then what you'll just start to do out of this is we'll just start to send pressure here off of this right side. So what I like to do is send the slot corner. The reason why is because I like to use the same person every time. I think that's super helpful. So anyways, if we start to see a lot of half slide, we can kind of mix in this blitz right here. And you see now we're screaming at them, right? Now we're screaming at them. So it's little things like that I think makes this defense really, really good. Another thing that you can do is you can kind of creep on these middle linebackers. So if we kind of go back to that first example where, situationally, maybe we want to play a defense like this, but we want to put a little more coverage on the field. So we do something like this, right? Okay. This 3-man, not terrible. You can still get really good sheds out of this 3-man, and a lot of times this will come in. Again, just the way mid-blitz kind of and double mug in general pushes the pocket, it makes it a really, really effective defense. My favorite way to send 6 out of this is to utilize the slot corner because I feel like I can play a lot of stuff on that right side. And if they do block a running back, a lot of times this will still, you see how it really triggers that A-gap pressure. It's very uncomfortable to play. So the more they try to pick this blitz up, I think the worse they're going to be situationally, because then we'll just start mixing in kind of this send 5, we'll start mixing in the send 3, and we'll start mixing in the send 6. But that is why I think double mug is probably the number 2 defense in this game. All roads lead to dollar. In my opinion, this is the best defense in this game, and I've just consistently seen that all roads ultimately will almost always lead to dollar because it is the defense that allows you the most opportunities to blitz, the most opportunities for coverage. It's got so many different ways in which it can be ran. So we're going to be putting dollar as our number 1 defense in Madden 25. If you want to get my full ebook on this defense, it's in our school community. All of these defenses are broken down in there a little bit more in depth. But what we're going to do is we're going to go auto flip off, auto alignment to base, option defense conservative. All of these are on default. And then we want to make sure we have our audibles set. So these are the best audibles for dollar. Cover 6 Willie, DB Fire, Edge Blitz 3, Strong Safety Zone Blitz. And we're going to be running the entire defense. We're going to be running basically flipped. And let me just make a couple of minor tweaks here so that we have everything kind of in a nice position. And then we're going to be coming out in double safety go. Now, what the key with this is we're going to flip this defense. We're going to flip double safety go every single time. And what that does is it brings the safeties into the box, which are going to allow us to play seam streaks better. And then what we're going to do is if we are on the left hash, we're going to call cover 6 Willie, and we're going to stand kind of over in this area of the field. And this can potentially get a nice little crossfire blitz in at our opponent. Or if you don't like that blitz, you can utilize Edge Blitz 3. And so what's really nice about dollar is not just the pressure. It's the combination that it has some decent pressure, but it has amazing switch stick. The switch stick is the biggest feature in this game. And this defense really makes switch sticking super simple. Like, you can just switch stick all over the field with this defense very, very easily, which is why this defense is so good. And then the other thing about this is all of these blitzes kind of complement each other. So that's another really underrated feature is, you can run some DB Fire, you can run some Edge Blitz 3, you can run some Cover 6 Willie, and they all kind of complement one another in terms of how they're going to be able to be utilized. So, for example, if I want to run Cover 6 Willie, let me just send this linebacker on the right side, kind of guarantee this crossfire blitz. As you see, super good little 5-man pressure. And then dollar is a very hash mark dependent defense. So if you're on the right hash mark, you want to be in this strong safety zone blitz. And I feel like this is fairly well documented at this point. But what you want to do with this is basically a coverage like this. Quarter, half. Again, the soft squat, super good. And then you don't want to stand here. You want to kind of stand more out here at this point. And this is really good for getting that A-gap blitz. As you see, that's a send 4. We're getting instant A-gap pressure off of a send 4. One of the ways that they're going to try to block this blitz is they're going to double team this defensive end. And so what we can do to kind of counter this, and this is why I really like Dollar right now, is because the blitzes kind of complement one another. So now I'm going to send cover 6 Willie, and you see that cover 6 Willie's got a really good chance at being able to come in against that pass protection. Another thing that will start to happen is you'll start to see that in order to pick up the A-gap blitz, it means that this left guard needs to kind of suck to the middle of the field. And so what we can do is then we can start to mix in this edge blitz 3 here, which I think is really, really, really good. So you see here, it kind of looks exactly the same. That's another big principle, but everything looks exactly the same. Now we're sending that edge blitz 3 and kind of getting that loop around the tackle as opposed to what we were doing before. So all of the blitzes complement one another. And then if they're really just starting to constantly pick everything up that we're doing, we can just call DB Fire 2. We might not want that to happen, but we can just call DB Fire 2. What I like to do is actually pinch my D-line, contain, and then kind of slide these guys off of the edge. And then now maybe I stand a little bit more down in here, and now we get the DB Fire type of pressure that is really, 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 really good. So again, if we're in DB Fire, we'll just contain, and then I might be, situationally, right? We might need to move this guy just for a second, but do something like this, and now you've got DB Fire 2 coming at him. So just little things that you can do within this defense that I think is really, really effective. You don't want to send, used to be, you wanted to send strong safety zone blitz pretty much every single time you were on this hash. The problem is now there is some pass protection, like ID in the corner, double teaming. Sometimes that can block the blitz. You see right there, that blocks the blitz. But a lot of times you also get a really nice shed from your defensive tackle within this defense. So all these are little factors here. So what I like to do is if they are consistently picking up my strong safety zone blitz, well, then I'm just going to run one of my other blitzes. I'm just going to run edge blitz 3, right? And then we can see if that works. So you just want to kind of mix in your blitzes this year out of this. As you see, we get a nice little crossfire or a nice little loop and then a shed. And then, again, if they're double teaming a lot, well, we can mix in our cover 6 Willie. And cover 6 Willie is pretty good this year. As you see, you get that nice loop. And this is all from running the defense flipped. So this is another thing that a lot of people don't realize, too, is you can run the man version. So if you want to run man coverage, you could run a defense like this. Just slant your D-line to the left like so. And then you could drop the safety in whatever you want. So, if you want to have him in a curl flat, if you want to have a soft squad and kind of a combo like this, you could do something like this. Let's see if we can get this blitz angle is a little off. Let me just re-blitz this guy. But we can send the defense like this. And as you see, we're able to get that A-gap pressure again. So there's just a lot within Dollar that you can do that you really can't do in other defenses. Dollar just gives you more options at the end of the day, and that's why I really like this defense, just because it gives you so many options. Everything looks exactly the same. The coverage is really good, and it maximizes your switch stick capabilities. Those are my top 5 defenses in Madden 25. If you enjoyed this video and you're looking to take your Madden game to the next level, really encourage you to check out School. Our School community is only $10. It gets you access to all of our offensive and defensive ebooks, as well as an entire community of players that are trying to get better. So if you're looking to take your game to the next level, sign up for our School site by heading down to the description and clicking the link down below.